individuals. That's good to hear. We're being recorded. Anyways, happen to
Sorry.
individuals. That's okay. It's happened to, sorry, individuals because some very basic things are not done. We're often tricked into giving our data away. Throughout this presentation, I'll explore some of the common attacks and how to prevent them. Along the way, I'll provide some real-world examples of security breaches that I've worked on. If you find that I get speaking too much techno gobbledygook, just let me know so I can temper what I'm saying and maybe bring it back down to earth a little bit. So we'll go into major sources of security breaches, how to prevent against cyber threats, and some best practices to protect yourself and your clients. We go to the next slide. So I've listed what I believe are the top 5 threats that you may come across in your businesses today. These are, number 1, old, unpatched software and operating systems. Number 2, human error. Number 3, malware, ransomware, and phishing attacks. Number 4, this is a new one for me, artificial intelligence and deep fakes. You hear a lot about that in the news now, and it's becoming very, very real. And number 5, physical theft. We can go to the next slide, please. So as I said, we're going to explore each of these topics in a little bit more detail. The number 1 cause of computer system breaches is unpatched or old operating systems. When I talk about unpatched systems, I'm talking about how Microsoft and Apple update their operating systems to include software repairs, updates, and new features. You may have seen your Windows computer ask you to update when you go to shut it down. Don't decline it. Let it happen. Let it do its updates. Apple computers typically send updates and install them automatically. Although you may need to go to the software update section to enable this. If you've not seen one of these update messages on either operating system, you're probably not patched. So you probably need to go in there and make sure your systems have this enabled. Hackers take advantage of flaws in the operating system to gain access to your device and do things to it, and things you may not be aware of. Many of the exploits we will talk about later are only effective against unpatched operating systems. Quite often we get complacent with the operating system that we use and don't want to change it. I remember a couple years back, I was on my way to Spain and I was at the Air Canada check-in terminal, and I'm a computer geek. I looked at their computer and hey, they were still running Windows 7. How do you think that makes me feel going into an airplane and flying away with an operating system that hadn't been supported for years? Be aware that both Microsoft and Apple stopped supporting and issuing updates to their operating system after 7 to 10 years. Windows had stopped issuing security patches for Windows 10 as of October 14th this year. So if you're still running Windows 10, you probably need to get onto Windows 11. So, think about that. Also, make sure you have a legitimate registered version of your operating system and application and that they are current. Many of us purchase our applications once, such as Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and then we never update them. We just stay, hey, we bought Windows, Word 2007, love it, keep using it, hasn't been patched or updated thing. You may want to think about updating your apps, getting on a subscription service, something like O365 or an annual subscription with your applications that you use frequently. Next slide, please. So according to IBM, up to 95% of all security breaches are attributed to human error. Human error can cover many things. We're going to talk about some of them here today. So email, we use email all the time. Be sure you verify who you send your email to. It's easy to use the wrong address in email, especially if you're using the autofill feature in many of our email contacts lists. Data permissions. People will often share documents in cloud storage, whether it, O365 or Dropbox or whatever. Are you sure you've limited your document share to the person or people you want to share it to and haven't given full access? Have you stopped sharing at the end of the day? When you share your family vacation pictures out of Dropbox, kind of fun. We all do it. Did you also share a potential folder that maybe you didn't want to, potentially with client information? Be aware of who you share and limit the shares and remove the share features when you're done. Passwords. Have you shared your password? It's often done to help fix a problem. Perhaps give your password to someone that's covering for you, or perhaps you may loan out your machine. When you finished, have you changed your password so that your password is not out in the wild? Clicking on links in email. Who hasn't done this? Someone sends you a funny video or something, click on this. When you do that, you're opening up your computer and saying, hey, I want to do something. And now you're opening your door to potential threats. So I see today many of us are working at home. Working home is fantastic. I love it. It's great until, the cat or dog wants out, and then you got to leave your computer, walk out. When you leave your computer attended, did you lock the screen? Did you, in your rush to do something else at the home, did you inadvertently click on something? Being distracted is a very easy way for something to happen. Next slide, please. Let's take a little closer look at email. When using email for communication, especially with confidential information, it's essential that you make sure you're communicating with the intended person. A misplaced letter or dot and your message go to the wrong person. For example, bsmith@gmail.com and bobsmith@gmail.com may look like the same, but they're probably different people. And as you get more and more clients, it's quite possible you have duplicate names or similar names. When receiving a message, look at the complete email address and verify it is who you think it is. So hover over, most email clients, if you hover over the person, they'll expand, like the example here. I've got Linda's full email address, and I look at that and go, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking it should look like. If in doubt, especially if you're dealing with a client that you're not familiar with, there are some online tools that you can use to check if the email address is valid. For example, emailchecker.net allows you to put the address in a search box, and it checks against a set of lists of valid and invalid email address, and it will tell you if it's okay. Kind of a nice little tool to have. So as I said, just be sure who you're sending to, because I know many of you will have received an email from someone that, hey, that's not for me, or you've sent it potentially to someone else. So think about that when you're doing. Be careful. Next slide, please. Malware. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the horrible things that happen to your computers. Most computers and home internet devices have fairly good firewalls built into them, and these help prevent attacks from the internet. And these are, brute force attacks that people are just hammering at your machine. Probably don't see it too much at home. In businesses, you see this a lot as people hit your firewalls, not so much at home. In a malware attack, hackers will try to trick you to go to their website, establish a connection where they can do some bad things to your computer. These generally start with an email or maybe a website where you're asked to provide some information. The site will ask you to download a file. It could be a picture, PDF, an Excel spreadsheet, anything like that onto your computer. These downloads will then infect your computer and load the malware on it. Once loaded, they will use your machine for data collection and to launch attacks on other machines. Oh joy. These emails may look legitimate and may be from a trusted colleague who has been affected by a malware. So always be careful about clicking on any link in a message. Red flags should go up if you get a message to change a password, verify credit card information, update personal information. If in doubt, don't do it. Verify with a phone call or a text message or another way of getting hold of the person who's asking you to change the information. So, if Canadian Tire asks you to update your home address on your credit card, maybe make a phone call first before you go do it. Next slide, please. Ransomware. This is one that we hear a lot about in the news right now. Ransomware is a relatively new type of cyber threat. It has risen in popularity with the rise of cryptocurrency. Payment is often hard to trace. Bitcoin is similar. Much like malware, a small program is loaded on your computer that encrypts all your files. So all your data files on your machine are now encrypted, and you can't read them. The only way to unlock them is to pay a ransom and get a key to unlock your files. Very, very annoying. This costs organizations millions and millions of dollars. The WannaCry ransomware was one of the first large-scale ransomware attacks. It's estimated over 200,000 computers worldwide were infected with this. A flaw in the Windows operating system was exploited by this ransomware attack. Microsoft had issued a fix for this long before the attack ever started. Unpatched computers were the only ones infected with this. It could have been avoided by using up-to-date operating systems. So if your operating system was up to date, you couldn't be impacted by this ransomware attack. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk about a first incident one of the incidents I worked on. The situation, a staff member had been on extended leave and not accessed the laptop or internet for a considerable time. Upon returning to work, they diligently went online and tried to catch up on their email. They received a message from Human Resources about some new policies. The message indicated that they should download the file and read it. After downloading, the file opened and promptly all their files were encrypted. They then received a message about paying ransom. All the files now had unrecognizable names and could not be opened. So needless to say, the person kind of freaked out, wasn't sure what to do. So the resolution, they contacted the IT department. The laptop was isolated from the network. And this is something that you do very, very, get off the internet right away, because you don't want that ransomware software to also go looking for other computers on your network, which could be your home network or work network. So we isolated the laptop. We immediately formatted the hard drive, and that just obliterated all the files, all the encrypted files, all the software gone. The IT department routinely backs up people's data files. Once the laptop had a fresh operating system and patched operating system installed on it, the data files were restored from backup. The person lost a morning's work since the last backup, but that was it. No ransom was paid. Investigation revealed that an operating system vulnerability had come to light over the period of the leave. Since the laptop was not on the internet, the operating system patches had not been applied. This allowed the downloaded file to take advantage of the vulnerability. Blocks were put on the email address that sent the attack, and there was a whole bunch of further investigation on how that machine got infected. So it was one of those ones that went from one machine to another. So it was a malware that led to a ransomware attack that led to this situation. Took a while, but no ransom was paid. We were very lucky that we didn't get into one of those $1 million ones out in the news. So if we can go to the next slide, please. Phishing. So phishing is usually an email-based attack and is used to induce you to give up personal information, including passwords and credit card information. These messages will quite often come from a trusted email address and look like they come from a company that you deal with or work with. Quite often, the start of these is from a malware attack. Here's an example of an email that might be a potential phish. This is something that I received from Amazon. And any message asking you to update a credit card information raises flags. In this example, the first thing I did was confirm that this was from a valid email address. So I looked at the address and went, okay, looks like Amazon. Still, I wasn't sure whether I could trust it or not. So I went straight to the Amazon website rather than clicking on the link in the message to update my payment method. Went to Amazon, looked at my account details, and found out that one of my credit cards had expired. But this did raise flags and saying this could be a potential phish. We can move to the next slide, please. So this one is an interesting incident I just read about recently. So recently, WestJet Rewards program suffered a cyber attack. It affected 1.2 million customers of WestJet. Names, addresses, email addresses, and some WestJet credit card information was stolen. WestJet promptly notified all customers by email. Oh, nice that they notified everyone, but email sure looks like a phish. They offered everyone 24 months of free identity theft and warned people to be alert for phishing and suspicious emails when it came to you by email. Okay. Interesting enough, I received an email from WestJet asking me to reset my account password. They presented a link in the message to do so. Actually, it did not use the link and just started the message. It was a phish attempt. Excuse me. So yeah, that was kind of one recently, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if many of you had that incident. Go to the next slide, please. So artificial intelligence and deep fakes. Artificial intelligence has accelerated the complexity and frequency of cyber attacks. Common AI tools such as Microsoft Copilot accelerate the gathering of data and searching your machine and networks for accessible information. So like Copilot is really like Microsoft Search on steroids. It looks at your machine for data, gathers data. So when you ask it a question, it's searching your files and any files that it can get a hold of, which could be on the internet or on your computer network or other machines in the area. Attackers use AI tools to analyze data and permissions. So they're saying, okay, I can read this data. What can I do? Can I write to that data source? Can I look at it? What else can I do with it? They look at the data permissions and security settings to detect vulnerabilities. If they detect those vulnerabilities, then a phish or a malware attack or a ransomware tool is then deployed, often with content created by the AI engine. AI is also used to create video and audio files that may contain embedded malware. These media files may end up in your social media feeds. So here's one that you got to watch out for. So next slide, please. It's incident 3. So the incident I'm going to use next is very personal, and I almost got caught by it. I've been listening to Tom Cochran on my laptop and mentioned to my wife that we'd not seen him in concert recently. Naturally, my Facebook account was open on my laptop and listening to me. Next day, my Facebook feed had an ad for an upcoming Tom Cochran concert at the Fallsview Casino. It had a great little video and naturally a link button to go buy tickets. So without thinking, I clicked on the link. Yes, caught. Next slide, please. And it took me to the Fallsview website. I had a quick look at the website and saw the usual hotel reservation links, as well as links to reserve seats in the theater. So off I went, looking to book a couple seats. Time came to make payment. It was not until I was at the point of applying my credit card that I stopped and think about what I was doing. A quick look at the website URL, the www thing up at the top, and it didn't look right. I went to another computer and used Google to find the Fallsview website. Sure enough, the URL was different. Despite the website looking identical, I immediately canceled out of the phony website, cleared out my browser cache, and ran security scans on my computer to see if anything had happened. Fortunately, I caught myself before I gave my credit card information away. And this was all over breakfast. I didn't feel very smart that day, I'll tell you. Just interesting note about Facebook, and you should try it. Open your Facebook, talk about something like, trip to Spain. And I would almost guarantee you the next day you will get ads about trips to Spain. So your social media is paying attention to what you're doing, whether you know about it or not. Next slide, please. Physical theft. This is probably the simplest of all the common problems, but it also happens a lot. Physical theft is a very common source of data breach. Typically, a car is broken into and a device is stolen. A laptop left momentarily at the coffee shop while you get a refill may be grabbed. A USB drive is easy to misplace. When you get rid of your old laptop, do you delete and format the hard drive, or you just take it to the recycle bin and put it there? Just deleting files is not enough. Usually, I remove the hard drive out of my laptop and destroy it. There was a quite public incident at a Toronto hospital a few years back where a laptop had been stolen and hundreds of thousands of patient files were released out to the wild because the laptop was stolen. It had patient information on it, and it was able to be read. So be aware that stealing happens, and it's a common source of data breach. Next slide, please. While the majority of cyber threats come from email and human errors, there are often less common threats. The internet, by its nature, is a best effort trusting network. It's quite possible to snoop into the traffic going over the internet. When you go into Tim's and use the free Wi-Fi, it's usually not encrypted, and anyone can see what is being transmitted over it if you have some software tools that allow you to spoof into the Wi-Fi. So be cautious when using a hotspot at a hotel, coffee shop, Tim's, anywhere. Email by its nature is not encrypted. It transmits data in clear text. So if you're snooping, you can read what's going through. There are things called man-in-the-middle attacks that someone intercepts your data over an open Wi-Fi, reads it, and goes looking for, passwords, credit card information. Once again, you don't realize it, you're snooped, you get caught. One of the interesting developments is the world of IoT, or Internet of Things. Many of us have, smart TVs, internet connected freezers, Google Home or Amazon Alexa, any one of these, intelligent devices. These things are on the internet and they're listening and can be hacked. They are potential threats. This one is going to grow as the years go by. We're already hearing about people attacking our cars. Our cars have more computing in them than the Apollo space program had. So they too are getting hacked. Next slide, please. So now that I've scared you all and you're not going to touch a computer again, what can we do to present cyber awareness threats? So I'm just going to go over a few things that we can do to how to prevent theft and loss. Next slide, please. So physical security, let's start simple. Think about your office. Do you secure it? Just because you're in home, is it secure? At night, clean up your desk, secure all files and documents. Make sure your computer is turned off. Make sure you secure your device and make sure it's not visible from the outside. Can people see your computer screen from outside? If you're on the ground floor, I was out raking leaves yesterday. I looked over at my neighbor. They work at home all the time. I could see their computer screen, and I'm living out in the country. They're not that close. It doesn't take much. And if you have a screen open with client information on it, you've now given away your information. When we send paper documents, and we still do that, I imagine, sending by Canada Post is not very secure. If it's important information, get a signature for it and get it, registered. I know we still have to use faxing. Hopefully you don't have to do much, but I know that every once in a while there's a fax I have to send off to a lawyer or, the pharmacist or the doctor or something. Faxing technology is very, very non-secure. Are you sure you're sending it to the correct number? Will there be somebody at the far end to receive that fax and, in a timely manner? All that fax with potentially client information just sit on a fax scanner. This is one that always amazes me when we deal with lawyers is who's reading this doc and is it safe? And one of the most common data breaches, as you mentioned earlier, is the theft of a laptop from vehicle. Be sure you put them out of sight, even when you're going into a store. Next slide, please. A laptop placed in the rear seat of an SUV or car is an open invitation. Put it in the trunk, or at least cover it with a coat or a blanket or something. Make sure it's not that visible. Does your home office look like this? This is mine. At least I have a lock on my file cabinet to keep my, legal documents hopefully safe. Open files must be put away at the end of the day or at lunch. Do you have a lock on your door? I know a lot of companies have policies about home offices that you need to lock your door. And yes, it's to keep, people from seeing your dogs. Yes, you trust your family, but a guest, a plumber who's in your office, make sure your home office is secure. Next slide, please. So incident 4, the situation. A staff member came into head office for a weekly meeting. They had left their iPad in the front seat of their car. While in the meeting, the car was broken into, the iPad was stolen. Work notes and pictures were on the iPad. The resolution. Fortunately, all our iPads had a mobile device management software loaded on them. This allowed the IT department to erase all pictures and documents off the iPad. Tracking information from the software allows IT to provide the police with its location. Police retrieved the iPad, and that was good. We put security cameras in the parking lot to hopefully resolve some of the snatch and grab, and then educated staff about don't leave your device in the car. Next slide, please. So one of the easiest ways to gain access to data is through your home network. Many people leave their network settings and passwords as they came from Bell, Rogers, or Starlink, whoever your provider is. This gives the potential hacker a good starting point on what your password may look like, and then from there, they can go hacking at it. Most of us have our work device on the same network as our TV, gaming console, smart device, who knows what. Do you know what the rest of the devices on your home network are doing? And are they safe? You know, just because your computer has virus protection, all the good stuff on it, does everybody else? Do you know what they're doing? As we mentioned earlier, email is the source of most attacks. It's incredibly difficult to stop this. Make sure you use email from a reliable provider. Look at using malware protection software that scans emails. So some of the virus anti-malware stuff has email scanners built into it. Many of the current antivirus malware tools and some include some form of artificial intelligence in them that analyzes your machine traffic patterns that are going in and out of your device. If it detects an abnormal traffic flow, it starts flagging you and stops this traffic from happening. So something like Proofpoint or Barracuda, Microsoft Defender, all have these things built into it. Make sure you have one of those things running on your machine. So let's look at the securing internet at home a little bit. The first image that I have is was taken at my son's condo. I just opened up my phone and said, hey, let's look at the networks there. The first 6 Wi-Fi networks were all at default settings. These are as they came from Bell Canada or Cogeco. If I was a hacker, this gives me a start point. I know what the password format's going to look like. I know where to start. The second image is from my home network. You'll see 2 networks called home. The first is my general use network that I connect phones and laptops to. The second is for our IoT devices, for the TV, the gaming console, and other things. They're separate. It's not a great setup, but it at least separates the games from the work. And you'll notice that I don't have an identifier. It doesn't say Phil's home network or my address or whatever. It's a very generic. I don't want people to know where the signal is coming from. So think about changing from the factory defaults and go into create something custom. And it can be as simple as what I've done here. It at least creates a separation. Next slide, please. So device management. Is your device loaned out or used to other members of your family? You really need to think about this. I've had incidents where people loaned their machine out to a child, and then the child did something, and then it came back to work, and then there was problems, and then that reflects on your career. Maybe, don't think about doing that. Separate work from home. Do you have encryption turned on your device? Both Windows and Apple allow you to encrypt your hard drive, all of it, part of it. Maybe look at creating, encrypting your documents folders. That way, if your device is stolen, people can't read your documents because they're encrypted. Look at enabling Find My Device on your laptop. It's a great little piece of software that Microsoft has built, and it allows you to track your device. It helps locate it again if it gets stolen. Make sure you have some sort of malware virus protection on your device. Enable screen locking so that it locks up when you leave your device. So, a couple of minutes after walking away because you're off getting a coffee or, gone to the door, your screen locks, no one can see what's going on. Make sure you dispose of your device correctly at its end of life. As I mentioned earlier, delete all information, format the drive, remove the hard drive. If it's your phone or tablet, consider, well, minimally take it back to factory default with a wipe. If not, destroy it. Next slide, please. So this is an interesting one, and since we're on a call today, this kind of might be a little bit of an amusing one. So the situation during a Teams call, presenter had the usual PowerPoint up, was making their presentation. They also had several other tabs or screens open. At one point, the presenter had to switch from the presentation to another application that was in the background. The presenter accidentally opened up a spreadsheet with client financial information on it, a client that was not part of this meeting. All participants was able to see this confidential information. Well, there's no real resolution to this incident other than training and common sense. The presenter had to explain the breach to their client. The lesson is, make sure only have the appropriate screens and applications open during an online meeting. As I said, it's sometimes you give away information. Next slide, please. Mobile devices and cell phones. Mobile devices run our lives these days. I think we're pretty much tethered to our cell phones. These present a major source of potential data loss. They're easy to lose, they're easy to steal or misplace. I mean, who hasn't left their phone on the top of their cars or unlocking a door or something and driven away and had it fall off the back? I can't think of the number of phones I picked up off the road and had to go locate people to return them. We use our phones for work, play, social media, and email. All are potential security risks. Similar to your Windows or Apple computer, they need to have their OS updated. Make sure you know what apps are running on your device and remove any non-used apps. Be wary of social media apps like Facebook that ask for access to your address book. You may be sharing client information because if you have clients in your address book and you Facebook or Snapchat and they've accessed your address book, you've now released your client information. Similar to your computer, encrypt them if you can. And once again, when you're trading in on the next Apple i21B, whatever the next model is, make sure that you scrub your old one and dispose of it correctly. Next slide, please. Operating systems and software. As mentioned at the start, Windows and Apple updates are incredibly important. Make sure you have them enabled and that you allow the updates to happen. Most security breaches take advantage of security issues with operating systems. Microsoft and Apple are very good at fixing issues and update their operating systems regularly. Remember back to our slide on ransomware? A Windows update would have stopped any attack. If you take nothing from today, make sure your OSs are updated on all your devices. This is the #1 thing you can stop to prevent malware, phishing, ransomware. Next slide, please. Your applications, much like your operating system, need to be updated. Your Microsoft Office 2007 may still work, but there are many security issues with it. Looking at purchasing an annual subscription. Perhaps go to an online version such as Office 365 or Google Workspace. Both of them are excellent. Yes, they don't have all the features of the load them on application, but they are updated and patched. You don't need to worry about it. It's out of your worry zone. And make sure they're up to date and current. Next slide, please. Passwords. Passwords cause a lot of grief. Many people think that complex passwords are more secure. I would question that because quite often when you have a complex password with uppercase and special characters and numbers, you forget it and you have a habit of writing it down. I can't think of the number of times I've been to people's desks and seen a sticky note with their password on it, or flip the keyboard upside down and there's the password. And if your password is less than 8 characters, It's not that hard to hack. With the tools available and the computers today, an 8-character password can be broken relatively quickly. It's better to have a long passphrase, something like April is my name, 1973. Long passphrases are a lot harder to hack than a short one. And the good thing about a passphrase is you might remember it and not write it down. Many places now, ask us to use two-factor authentication, where you use where you enter your password and then a security code is sent to you on another device, whether it be a text or email, and you enter that code in and then you get in. It's cumbersome, but it's way more secure. Many devices now support facial recognition or thumbprint to authenticate. These may be a good alternative to device access, although I have to admit I'm questioning that now with the AI and deep fakes where people are generating, images of you again. I'm not sure if that's really the right way to do it. Try not to write down your passwords. I know people do. If you do have to write down your password, make sure you secure where you write it down, in a locked place somewhere. If you have lots of passwords like me, you probably need something like a password manager, something like NordPass or Bitdefender PM. These things are sources to store your passwords in. Once again, though, they too have been hacked, so I don't know which is the best way to go. But anyways, think about that. Think about long passphrases. Next slide, please. So my next incident situation, a staff member had engaged an intern to assist in web page development. When trying to publish the web page, the intern was unsuccessful. Thinking the problem was caused by insufficient server privileges, the staff member gave the intern their password. This fixed the problem. The staff member never changed their password. About a year later, confidential information from the same server that hosted the website was found on the internet. Major embarrassment. IT was asked to investigate. IT was contacted and asked to investigate, it said. Next slide, sorry. IT contacted the sites where the leaked data was posted and had it removed. IT then looked at the activity logs on the server that hosted the website. All activity pointed to the staff member that had loaned their password to the intern. The password was changed and access removed. Police were contacted and tracked down the intern. The intern admitted to using the credentials, and obviously things happened beyond that. If you do share your password, change it once whatever reason it's being loaned is resolved. I know people say never share passwords, but it happens. Next slide, please. Document management. Document management used to be easy. You take the paper, put it in a file folder, secure it in a file cabinet, lock it. Now we have this, plus all the digital options. Storing your files on your computer or mobile device is not really a good idea. Using online storage that is password protected and encrypted is generally better than local storage. That way you don't have to worry about if your device is stolen, data's on it. When sending files over the internet, encrypt them, password protect them, and verify that you're sending them to the correct location. Make sure you destroy files when appropriate. Shed paper files, delete digital files. Think about it, right? How long have you kept some of those documents in your My Docs folder? I looked at mine a while back and there was, years gone by. Probably don't need to be there anymore, need to be archived or gotten rid of. You may have some legal document retention guidelines. You need to follow those, but you also might want to store them somewhere safe and encrypted. Next slide, please. Encryption. So we've talked a little bit about encryption. As I mentioned, you can encrypt your entire device if you wish, or perhaps just the data area. Both Windows and Apple have built-in versions of encryption, or you can get aftermarket encryption tools. This will prevent anyone from reading your drive from your machine. So if someone stole your laptop, took the drive out of it, plugged into another machine, they wouldn't be able to read your data. As I mentioned earlier, email by its nature is sent over the internet in clear text, and that means anyone can read it. If you're sending a document attachment, you probably should encrypt it and password protect it. I've included links at the end of the presentation on how to do this. Typically when you do this, a second email or a text is sent with the password that unlocks the encryption. Once again, cumbersome, probably should be done. USB drives, we all use them. They're incredibly handy for, carrying data around. Once again, spend the extra $1, buy one that has encryption on it. That way, if you lose your USB drive or leave it somewhere, people can't read it. They can't read it without the password. Next slide, please. Social media. Many of us love our social media. It's great for sharing life experiences and make contact with people and creating content and having fun. But be aware, hackers use social media as a source of information on you. A video posted on Instagram may be the source of a targeted AI attack. You've put your image and voice out there. People now can use that to create an AI attack. So think about it. Best practice is to limit what you post, preferably create a social media personality that is not your real identity. So create an avatar of yourself and use that for your social media, especially when you want to separate work and social. I worry when I see, friends who post vacation pictures in their social media accounts and they have no limits on who can see it. A potential thief can look at that and determine that if a person is away on vacation, track it back to your home, and hey, they have an empty house to go and do stuff with. So think about it. It's one of those ones you just, yes, you want to share and have people know that you're having fun, but be aware you're also opening yourself up when you do this. It's social. You're exposing yourself. So think about what you're exposing. Next slide, please. So disaster planning. You need to have a plan on what to do if you get into trouble, because it may happen despite your best efforts or, just one little slip. One of the best things you need to do is do a data backup. Is one of the best defenses against ransomware. Be sure to back up frequently and have multiple copies of what you back up. If you're not backing up once a week, you're at risk. You should be backing up daily. One of your copies from your backup should be in a secure location that's fireproof, preferably off-site. God forbid something happened to your house and your backups and devices got destroyed in a fire. If you have a backup, you can recover from it. If you back up to a USB or an external hard drive, be sure to encrypt that backup, because if you don't, your data is on that drive in clear text and can be read. Look at some type of cloud backup for your data. It's not that expensive and probably cheaper these days than having an external device. You may want to make sure that your data is stored in Canada. There are many data sovereignty laws that govern businesses. If you want to, be in compliance, you probably want to be sure that you're storing in Canada. Make sure you have an IT contact that is available to assist. Don't rely on your neighbor or your really smart 12-year-old kid down the block who knows a lot about computers. Make sure you have a relationship with an IT professional that can help you if you're in trouble. Next slide, please. Best practices. So cyber and data security may be considered in two ways: data that is at rest and data that is in motion or transit. Data at rest lives in your home office. Data in transit is either on its way to the client, lawyer, or other internet contact, or the cloud. How we protect that data depends on where it is. Most breaches come from vulnerabilities in software or operating systems. The quickest fix is keep them up to date. Physical security is very important. Many data breaches come from misplaced USB drives, stolen laptops, and lost phones. Very simple to prevent that. So store your data in secure locations. Look at cloud services for data storage, and especially Microsoft OC 365, and love it. Google Workspace, Dropbox. Don't use the free editions. The paid-in versions ensure data privacy. Use artificial intelligence carefully and always validate the information that it provides to you. AI just searches the internet, searches devices, and regurgitates information in what they think you want to hear. So it's not gospel. It needs to be validated. Encrypt documents that you send by email. Make sure they're password protected. Encrypt your file storage, USB drives, hard drives, whatever. Only use facts as a last resort, and then, grudgingly. Separate your devices for work and play. Keep your devices and applications up to date. Use a current antivirus, anti-spam, anti-phish email protection software service. Be careful on what you click. When you click on something, just think about it. Don't automatically assume it's okay. Make sure to physically secure your devices and data. So lock it, put it away, keep it out of sight. I had mentioned earlier about working in coffee shops and things, and yes, we all do it, or in airports. You may want to look at some VPN technology, virtual private network software that secures your internet connection. This will encrypt your internet traffic over that open Wi-Fi. It becomes a little bit more complex. You have to open a client when you do this, but it does allow your data in a hotspot to be safe. Next slide, please. Some tools that I like. So for virus protection, malware, phishing protection, Bitdefender has a paid version that's very, very good. Avast is a freebie one that if you're going to go with a freebie, it's kind of a okay one. Encrypted cloud storage, I use a company called NordLocker. Nord has a whole suite of tools, and I like them all, and they're very affordable and quite often come on sale. Very, very good tools. My online applications, I really like the Microsoft O365 for business. It's a wonderful tool, quite affordable. I think it's like $100 a year right now. It gives you like a terabyte of data storage, enough to keep you out of trouble. If you want some free encryption software, Veracrypt is a cool little thing that will encrypt pretty much any drive you have, and it's free. People do this stuff. Very, very cool. The email checker that I mentioned earlier was emailchecker.net. Put in someone's email address, and it'll tell you whether it's valid and whether there's any issues with it. So at this point, Linda, I believe we're at, if people have questions.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. I'm just going to put it over to the field. I just stopped sharing.
Thank you.
No problem. Does anyone have any questions, comments? I'm sure there's a lot you're taking in. Working from home is, it has got its benefits, but also how do you protect yourself, your computer, and the data that you're storing and communicating? And I'm just gonna look at the chat to see if there's anything that has come up.
Maybe put it out there. Has anyone had an attack where they've had an issue, and what did they do?
That's a good question.
Have any of you been caught like me, going off to a concert site and, going, oh,
No, but that scared me.
it scared me. I thought, well, I was just sitting having breakfast and, thinking, hey, let's do this. And